Hello, my little chickens. Welcome back to my channel. I promise I am trying to get better at YouTube. I really am trying. I say this all the time, I feel like, because every time I get burned from TikTok, I go, fuck TikTok. I'm gonna get into my YouTube. I'm gonna do more Instagram. I'm gonna, you know, I'm streaming now. I have a Patreon. Like, I'm just gonna focus on that. And then I just come crawling back every time. It is like a drug. They do make it addicting for a reason. So it is hard to quit, but I promise I'm trying. I will do more in-depth makeup tutorials, but I wanted to kind of like do more like yappy makeup tutorials because I feel like there's just such an oversaturation of makeup tutorials on the internet, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, and I like to yap. I like to talk. So I figured I would do like more like doing my makeup story times. This is the look we're gonna be trying to go for today, by the way. This is the look. I already have the hair kind of done. I don't have these sweet little, you know, ribbons, and I might have to cut. I realize hers like kind of like go down a little bit, so I might have to cut mine differently because right now I feel like they're giving like not this but this is the makeup we're gonna be trying to do. I don't tend to like try to do too many snatched looks anymore, just because like I have, you know, I have made peace with the fact that my eyes turn downward. There's nothing wrong with that, but after so many years of trying to, you know, snatch the eyes, cat eye, winged eyeliner, I'm like, you know, there's nothing wrong with looking different and having a different look. But I'm just so obsessed with this. And I know it's not gonna look the same. That's the most important thing I think that we all need to learn in this age of constantly looking at people that are so edited and have so much work done, is that most of the time the makeup tutorials that you see on someone, you go, oh my god, makeup tutorial. It's not gonna look like that on you. And that's okay. That's all right. That's what's beautiful. It'll look different on you. While we're doing it, I thought it'd be fun to talk about my dating history. I figured I would like, I have on my phone like a slideshow, because I'm a psychopath of all the people that, oh, you bitch ass motherfucker. These, every time I wear them, they break. It is infuriating. Look at that, looks so stupid! That looks so stupid with a full ponytail in. I'm gonna scream. Okay, I put in 2 in case one breaks. A second line of defense will come to my aid. Oh wait, I might have pink ribbon. Hold please. Guys, I'm so happy. I'm so happy we went on this journey together. I do have pink ribbon. Okay, things are looking up. Things are looking up here in Duloc. Anyway, so my idea being that for each video of me doing my makeup, doing a look, I will tell some stories about some dates past. Both good, bad, meh. Okay, that's kind of cute. Let me catch you up to Marielle in October of like 2018. I hadn't had a lot of relationships growing up. I was a big girl that, you know, a lot of people would say they had crushes on but never do anything about, or just wanted to, you know, like make out with me, or, you know, be physical with me but never date me. I had one boyfriend that was my best friend in high school. So that was like really my only relationship up until I was 21, 22. I had a relationship with, at the time, someone who identified as a woman. So we broke up like August 2018, and we were together for about 4.5 years. So a lot of my early to mid 20s was spent in a very committed relationship. And so I had a lot of finding out to do about myself now that I was single. And there was a lot of like complications with that relationship and letting go of it. We were both in the theater community, so it was a bit messy. There's a lot of like mind games going on, a lot of like frustrating situations happening. So I say all this to kind of preface where my mental state was, so that maybe you won't judge me so much. And listen, I've grown and I've learned so much. I was, in 2018, I believe I was 26, 25 or 26. So I was young, and like I said, I hadn't had a lot of experience with dating. And once I was single, I started, you know, dipping my toe into the Y chromosome of it all. And if you have no experience with men, diving in head first, a little dangerous. I hadn't dated in a long time. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I get on Tinder. The first guy I find myself engaging with that seems safe and chill is someone that to this day I lovingly refer to as Pizza Kev. Now, I've always kind of gone for the nerds. You know, I love a soft, nerdy boy. This guy was no exception. He was really into D&D and, you know, all things nerdy, like, you know, superheroes and Marvel, DC, blah, blah, blah. And he was like really cool and chill and, again, felt really safe to me. I was excited at the prospect of meeting him. I'm trying to remember. I don't think we had any sort of like spicy talks before we met. I think we kept it pretty PG. Again, I'm new to this, so I don't know to, like, you know, maybe tamper expectations. Don't talk to your friends about a prospective buyer until, you know that they're worth your while. So we set a date. I believe he was kind of broke, so we didn't do anything crazy. Wait, before I get into the date stuff, let me preface this because I did find this out before we went on a date. He told me, I don't know if he warned me or if he just like told me about his eating habits. So I think he just kind of like dropped this information willy-nilly. Homeboy tells me that he has a food phobia, okay? Obviously I know all about eating disorders and the like, but I've never heard of someone having a food phobia. So I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, what does that mean? And he says that there's only like a handful of foods that he can eat without throwing up. And at first I remember thinking like throwing up, like binging. And he was like, no, like genuinely, like all foods except these certain foods will make me throw up. Now, granted, this was so long ago, so bear with me because I don't remember like the full specifics, but what will always stick with me is the main ones. He said that every day on rotation, he would have these couple of things. So like he wouldn't eat these every single day, but he'd have them on rotation. So the things that he could eat were a full pizza, whole pizza pie, hence Pizza Kev. He said that he would eat 7 grilled cheeses, and he would cut the crusts off and then eat them like French fries. Like he would dip the crusts in ketchup, I guess. I believe those were the only 2 like meals he would eat, but then he said like for breakfast he would eat really only tortilla chips or a power bar. He was cool with French fries. He could eat French fries. I believe he also could eat cookies. So I'm hearing all this, and as someone that tries to be a very inclusive and kind and understanding, empathetic person, I'm like, okay, well, I've never heard of something like this before. I know what a picky eater is, but I've never heard of something like this before. But, you know, first time for everything. But meanwhile, in the back of my head, like, so you can imagine as someone that has been in a long-term relationship for a while, that's starting to get like attention from other people, especially men who you haven't really got a lot of attention from before. I'm already planning out my future with this man and, you know, thinking about like all that could be with this man. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I love food. I love food. And one of my favorite things I used to do with my ex was to go out to eat and like try new restaurants. What if we travel? Like, I want to travel. Can you imagine being like Bangladesh with this man? They don't have pizza and grilled cheeses for either. I mean, I'm sure they can make them, but you know what I mean? Like, I just was like, okay, but you know, my self-worth was, and I was willing to take anything, okay? And again, he was nice. There was nothing wrong with him. It just was a little odd. Back to planning the first date. I'm like, what the fuck are we gonna do? we're not gonna go out to a restaurant. So I think I asked, oh God, I truly don't remember, but I feel like I might have asked him, like, what do you want to do? What do you feel comfortable doing? And he was like, well, we can meet at Starbucks and we can like get a coffee. And the Starbucks that he was thinking of, that I guess was kind of near him, not too far from me, also was next to a diner. And I was like, well, we don't have to go to a diner if it'll make you uncomfortable. And he was like, no, like I said, like I like fries, like I can get a plate of fries. And I was like, okay. I'm so excited. I am chomping at the bit to meet this man. He has been so sweet. He has been so flirty, and he like, it's so crazy. Men can be really good at like faking riz, because he really had some good riz to him when we were talking on the phone. And in person, it just wasn't like that. Like, he was fine, he was nice, but the riz definitely wasn't the same. So I get there and he is so nervous. He's so nervous. And like, I think it's cute. I think that's sweet and endearing. He buys me a coffee. We talk for a while. This was the first date that I had been on. I don't even know how long. And the Starbucks was like about to close. Like, we had someone come over and be like, hey, we're gonna close. So we were like, fuck, well, we don't wanna stop talking. We're just getting to know each other. And we weren't there for that long. We go to the diner next door and we like sit down for like a hot minute, and then they're like, we're closing soon. So we like shared a plate of fries. And then again, we didn't wanna like end the date so soon. He was like, well, why don't we just go sit in my car? It's like, you know, the snow hasn't let up yet and I don't want to drive. I don't want you to drive. So let's just go sit in my car and continue to talk. And here's where it starts to get a little bit good, bestie, okay? The problem with me and Pizza Kev was that we both were coming out of long-term relationships. I was coming out of a 4.5-year relationship. Homeboy was coming out of a 9-year relationship, okay? So we were both kind of trying to find our groove. Right before I'm gearing up to get out of his car, like the snow had slowed down and it was getting kind of late, and I was like, all right, I better get home. He, you know, tries to kiss me. And I wanted it. I was like, all right, let's try this out. And it gets a little hot and heavy, you know? And I'm like, oh, okay. And he was a decent kisser. He was a decent kisser. And I'm kind of being like, ooh, okay. He pulls away, holds my face in his hands, stares deeply into my eyes and goes, I love you. So I blink at him rapidly. I'm like just mouth agape, and he immediately panics. I see the panic grow in his eyes when he realized what he said. So me being a dirty little people pleaser, I'm immediately like, no, it's okay, no, I, you know, it's fine. And he was like, no, I meant like, I love being with you, I love kissing you, I love things about you. And looking back on it now, I don't really know what his ulterior motive was there. Like, I don't know what the thing was, like, cause like, that's kind of crazy. I'm a good kisser, but that's a little crazy to be like, I was so into it that I just felt the need to say I love you. And I know, like I said, like, he was getting out of a 9-year relationship. So like, maybe it was just within his, like, felt it in his bones. Like, that's just what you say when you're kissing someone. So I was like, it's okay. Like, he didn't mean it. It's fine. I did all the damage control I could possibly do for this poor man. And on the way home, because at the time I was like, oh, it's funny. And then I started to, like, on the drive home, be like, like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, at first I was just blowing it off as something that was just kind of funny and quirky. And then I was like, well, actually this feels kind of weird. So like, call my girlfriends on the way home. I FaceTime them and I'm like, something weird just happened to me. I couldn't help feeling like, even on the ride home after I hung up with them, I was like, I just can't help but feel like that was just really weird. But I gave him a second chance. We went on a second date. Yeah, we did, okay? Listen, you gotta learn these lessons the hard way sometimes. What do the kids call it? A canon event. I'm kind of hating how this is turning out, but I gotta see it through, my boy. That looks better than that eye. What's happening with this eye? So I give him another chance because he was really just such a nice guy, and like, we got along really well over text. But our second date, maybe he must, I think he worked for a nonprofit or something, so he was just like really broke, and like, you know, didn't want to put in the effort to like actually plan a date and used being broke as an excuse. And let me tell you something real quick, like being broke is not an excuse for like coming up with a good idea to bring someone on a date that you really like. So the second date was set to take place at his place, which was the basement apartment of his parents' house. I don't even know if we ended up eating anything. Like, I can't remember if he like ordered pizza or like what we ended up having. I can't remember. You know what to do when your eye makeup starts looking bad beyond repair? Eyelashes. Eyelashes fix everything. We're sitting in his living room and we're talking, and he's starting to like come out with like some like, you know, questionable ideology. We start talking politics and I'm like, okay. So we talk some more and I start to, you know, get the feeling that like this guy just isn't for me. It's just not exactly my cup of tea, but like he's still really cute. Despite only eating pizzas and grilled cheese and tortilla chips, he was ripped. He had, you know, he worked out a lot. And, you know, it took me a couple of years to realize that this man just had an eating disorder. You know, like he didn't have a food phobia, he had an eating disorder. Sorry, I finished my makeup off camera because I was having trouble. I was having trouble focusing on telling the story and doing my makeup. Really all I did was put on these new Juvia's Place eyelashes that are kind of like, they go at the ends, and then I used a light pink lip liner. This is actually, you know what, I'm gonna break it down for you because this is one of my favorite lip combos. It's so natural and so pretty. This ColourPop lip pencil in the shade Oh Snap. Okay, there she is. This one, and then I have to find I have to find another color like this because look at this. Look at this. I don't know how old it is. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But it is the perfect like lighter than nude for my lips to create like a kind of a gradient. I couldn't even tell you what the name of this was. So I have to look for a dupe for this one of these days. And then I topped it with the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip in, oh my God, this doesn't say what the name of it is either. I believe it's Rose. But to finish the story, I had decided that like, I don't know if this guy's really for me. But again, my self-confidence was warped. I was really struggling with a breakup and my feelings over that breakup. I was just giving everything chance after chance, just trying to like exhaust all my options. So then I start to think like, well, let's go be intimate. So we start making out, we're making out on his couch, and then it's like, okay, let's go to the bedroom. And then I have to try to figure out, because a lot of my stories are really fun in the sexual aspect of it, so I have to try to figure out how to like make it a little bit more PG and a little bit more like social media friendly, so I don't get like banned or demonetized or whatever you want to say. So I'm gonna say I was, you know, what do I want to say? Eating a hot dog? I was chowing down on a hot dog, okay, with this guy, and he was, oh my God, taking so long. I have really bad TMJ, okay? I wish I could. Does that show up on camera? Can you hear that? Can you hear my jaw click? I've had really bad TMJ for a long time. Like, I think it's beyond TMJ. It's probably something else. So I've been eating this hot dog for a while, and I start to go like, hey man, can you give me an update or whatever? And he goes, man, I'm sorry. I just started antidepressants and it makes it really hard to finish. And I'm like, you didn't want to, you didn't want to tell me that at the beginning. You didn't want to tell me that after like, what, minute 10. And I'm just like, I'm getting tired. And the thing is like, I love eating hot dogs. I love eating hot dogs so much. I think it's one of my fave things to do. But after a while, it gets boring. It gets boring and it gets exhausting and difficult. So when he said that, I went, well, my jaw is blocking up, so I can't eat this hot dog anymore. And he was like, oh, okay, well, and when I figured out that he obviously liked me so much more than I did, I was like, I cannot be intimate. I cannot be physically intimate past, you know, the surface level stuff with this guy because I'll never get rid of him. I'll never be rid of him. I was like, yeah, I don't want to go that far, like so soon. Meanwhile, I'm 100% like a first date let's do it, girly. But I was like, yeah, I don't want to go that far so soon. And he was like, oh yeah, no, that's okay. I get it. And so I don't remember if he finished, like, helped me. Like, I don't remember what happened. The end of that, I probably blacked it out. And then I left and I was like, okay, that's enough. So I had to figure out how to slow ghost him. Or like let him down easy. My last straw, he started getting annoying to me, and I don't know if he was always annoying and I just took the rose-colored glasses off, or if he just started to become more annoying because he was more comfortable with me. I don't know, but at one point I remember, you know, I've always been very, you know, self-conscious about my weight and how people perceive me, and we were talking about food, and I brought up donuts for some reason, and I love donuts. I love donuts. And they're one of my favorite desserts. And at the time, there was this really awesome donut place in Long Island near where my parents lived. And I was telling him about it, and he was like, donuts aren't healthy for you. I think I was at my brother and sister-in-law's house, and I looked up from my phone, I looked around like as if he was there, or if he was like, who's talking to me like that? I know it's not the man that eats a whole pizza or 7 grilled cheeses for dinner every night. I know it's not the man whose breakfast is tortilla chips and a power bar. So I said as much to him. I was like, I mean, neither is power bars, but you eat those for breakfast every morning. He goes, yeah, but those have like actual like nutrients and stuff in them that will help you out that a donut doesn't. And I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna have a man mansplain to me power bars versus donuts. I'm not gonna have a man who has an eating disorder shame me for having donuts. It feels a little fat phobic. I know that's probably not how he meant it, but I was like, I'm not doing this. So later on that night, I was like, you know, this isn't gonna work. Thanks for your time, but I will be moving on. And good on him. Never heard from him again. He never popped back into my life. Never tried it with me again. So that's the story of Pizza Kev. If you liked this story, if you want to hear more dating tales, I have so many more. I'm just going to go through my little slideshow flip book of all the people I've been with. And I'll just tell a story about each one. Let's move over here. You can see, there we go. The lighting and the setup in here, I still have to figure out a little bit. No, this isn't my favorite setup, but it'll have to do. But that's the look. Love you guys.